Hello, I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope that you are ready to win this week. Remember that we are made to win. God has programmed us and ordained for us to be the head and not the tail. God wants to see you be successful. But success does not just happen. There are certain things we must do to put ourselves in a position to be able to be successful, to be able to walk out our purpose and reach our destiny. And I want to talk to you about a key to be able to fulfill your purpose and be able to maximize the time that God has given you in the earth to leave a lasting legacy. Have you ever felt like you were wasting time? All of us have said that, especially when we look back in retrospect and things don't pan out the way that we thought they would, or our outcomes are different from what we anticipated. We say, oh, I wasted so much time. I wasted time here, I wasted time there, I wasted time in that job, I wasted time in that relationship, I wasted time pursuing that ambitious goal. I just wasted a lot of time. But I'm going to tell you that God does not waste time. Even the time when we are pursuing things that are outside of God's will, and we are going after things that don't align with what God's purposes are for our lives, God has a way of redeeming that time, has a way of using that wayward experience to make us more effective for Him and more effective in our purpose as we walk out our calling. We hear this all the time from people when they start to talk about how those experiences from their waywardness and from their contrary, rebellious years have made them more effective in what the Lord has called them to do and called them to be. God redeems time. He does not waste time. But we can be wasteful with time. There are a lot of people who say, I'm waiting on God. You ask them, what do you do? Oh, I'm just waiting on God to work it out. I'm just waiting on God to open the door. I'm just waiting on God to make a way. And this waiting somewhat sounds as if they're in a passive position and they're doing nothing and just waiting on the divine to transpire in their lives, and they just walk through the door. They just walk through that opportunity just hits them upside the head. There's a song that came out when I was younger. Many of you know this song. It says, God is preparing me. He's preparing me for something that I can't handle now. He's providing me with what I need for the next level in my life. He's preparing me for everything that comes in my life. And that is so true. God is preparing you. God is preparing me. And this preparation has to do with developing our character, developing our insights, developing our gifts, developing our wisdom from experience. That God is preparing us. But this preparation is not just something that's done by God. There are certain things that we must do to prepare. But the problem is most of us miss our season of preparation, because during the time when we should be preparing, we sit there waiting. Sometimes waiting and complaining. Sometimes waiting and belly aching. Sometimes waiting and feeling like life is unfair. We spend these times waiting instead of preparing. What are you doing to prepare yourself for where you want to go? Because know this, God would do His part to set you up if you prepare yourself. There's a preparation responsibility that you and I have. So in that season where you feel like you're waiting, this is the time that you ought to be preparing. Those who win are those who took advantage of the preparation season. They didn't miss it. They didn't ignore it. Instead of complaining, they were working. So what should we do in the season of preparation? Well, there are a couple things I want to share with you, and I'll be out of your way today. First, during your season of preparation, you need to be plotting. Plotting. Yeah, plotting. You need to be scheming and developing where you are trying to get to. You need to be thinking through systematically what you are trying to accomplish in your life. Some people may say, oh, this may be me getting in the way of God. No. If you have submitted your life to God, you submit your plans to God, then there's nothing wrong with it. The Bible says that we should not plan without saying if it's the Lord's will. But it never says that we should not plan. God is a planner. God is a planner. And if God is a planner, then certainly we as his children ought to be like our daddy. We ought to be planning too. We love to talk about how the Lord has a plan for our lives and how God has orchestrated our lives and how God has already gone before us and made crooked places straight. So we talk about God being a God who plans. And you are made in the image of God, so you should be planning too. This includes vision casting. This includes vision boards. This includes short-term, long-term, mid-term goals. This includes strategic steps of how I'm going to get from where I am to where I need to be. You need to be plotting. What do you need to do to be ready for when the opportunity knocks? Do you need to go to school? Do you need to look at the business plan and begin to develop that business plan? Do you need to be attending some strategists conferences to be able to know how to strategize or how to communicate and articulate the vision that you have? What is it that you need to be doing in this season? You need to be planning, knowing where you are going. And then part of this plotting is also probing. As you are planning, you should be probing. This is another way of saying researching. I know this sounds so very boring to research. But the fact of the matter is, many people are successful because they did their research up front. They didn't try to get out there and try to build a plane while they were in the air. They did the research up front so that they knew what they were getting themselves into. And no, you can't research every possible thing that can happen. You can't research every possible thing that could take place or all of the possible possibilities. No, you can't research all of those things. But I guarantee you that when the unpredictable happens and the unforeseen takes place, the person who has done their due diligence to probe and research and read is more apt to succeed and make the best of that problem, to be able to turn that minus into a plus because they have already probed. Now, this research may be books. This research may be sitting down talking to somebody who's already done what you are doing, who's already perfected what you are attempting to do. It's about getting in the community of experts and listening to how they accomplish what they accomplish. If you want to start your own business, then you need to be talking to an entrepreneur who has done a great job of developing their own business. If you want to be a great lawyer, then you need to be talking to some lawyers and talk about what do I need to do in order to be a great lawyer like you. If you want to be a doctor, then you need to be talking to people who've been to medical schools. They kind of give you a heads up for what you should anticipate on your own personal journey. If you're like me and you're a minister, then you need to be talking to ministers who have been cutting edge, those who have been into these seminaries and have gotten the theological training and gotten that pastoral experience, those who have grown their churches and been able to implement their visions and change cultures. You need to be probing these people's minds. Because this is what you ought to be doing in your season of preparation. While you're waiting on God to open the door and create the moment, then you need to be plotting and probing. Plotting your plans that are submitted to God and probing by researching through books and experts, trying to find out as much information as you can about what you need to do or what you must have in order to get that plan or get that vision to become a reality. So preparation seasons should be plotting, probing, but then it should be practicing. There are certain things that you can do in preparation that you may not need to do when it's game on. Practice. Don't be afraid to try something while you're preparing. Just try it. If it does not work, it's okay. The world doesn't know you yet. Your big moment has not come, but you are trying different things to see what works. You may develop your niche in your practice. I played sports, and there were certain things I would do in the gym by myself that I wouldn't try in the game. It was only after I perfected it in practice that I would be willing to try the move in the game. And that's how it is about you and what you are planning to do in your life. Don't be afraid to practice. Don't be afraid to try it. Especially when you are in that season of preparation before you're on the big stage, when you are kind of in anonymity. Try it. It may work. You may be on to something. The Lord may have been putting something in your mind that may be a game changer. So practice. Try it. And see if it works. So that when the moment comes, you already have your niche. You already know what you need to do. You already have perfected it because you were willing to practice. So a season of preparation can be beneficial if you can plot, if you can probe, and if you're willing to practice. I want you to win. The moment is going to come. Your moment is coming. I don't know who this may be encouraging right now, but know this, your moment is coming. Your time has not been wasted. God is going to redeem every experience that you've had that's been negative and turn it into a positive and make you even more productive for his purpose in your life. So what you need to do today is stop walking around with your head hung down. Stop sitting there with your arms folded. And stop just sitting there praying and saying, I'm waiting on God. While you are waiting, you need to be preparing. Plot it. Write it. Put it in front of you. Then make sure you go and probe. Probe people. You can learn from their mistakes. They can tell you about things that I did that I shouldn't have done, or something that I should have did that I did not do, that could have made me, catapulted me into a far greater place than I am right now. And you have that information to help you. Probe. Don't be afraid to approach people who are successful. Successful people love to share their stories. They love to share their struggles. So ask and read. Read and research. Spend some time reading and researching so that you're developing your mind to know what you need to know and so that you'll be more prepared for the unexpected. And then practice. This is your season for preparation. Take advantage of it because pretty soon God is going to usher you into that season where the stage is set, the lights are on, and it's lights, camera, action. And you will be ready because you took advantage of your season of preparation. Let's go win.